The Holy Spirit makes me strong.
most important joints to warm up and condition properly are your wrists, and I usually throw these in at the end of my warm-up before I go into my working sets. As our wrists were not really built to manage heavy amounts of stress at disadvantaged angles, so it's important to keep them conditioned and strengthen them over time to be able to handle exercises such as push-ups or handstands on the floor. Now you might find it boring, or you might find it goofy when you're doing arm circles before every workout, but just like any other sport, you're going to have to eventually create a warm-up routine if you want to go for any sort of progress. The most foundational pushing exercise in calisthenics is, of course, the push-up, where you will be pushing around 60 to 70% of your body weight using your chest, shoulders, and triceps. If you can't do push-ups yet, then find an elevated surface such as a couch or even a wall so you can decrease the amount of load that you feel. The more traditional push-up involves your shoulder blades being retracted or pulled back during the whole movement, but I would recommend that you try to push your shoulders forward as you go up and retract them as you go down to train the small muscle located on your side between your lats and your abs, known as the serratus anterior. You can also target your serratus more by doing scapular push-ups in a regular push-up position or even a plank, as this movement of pushing the shoulders forward is incredibly useful down the line. My biggest tip for this stage is to film yourself from all different angles to make sure that your form is either correct or at least time. You're going to want to make sure your butt is down and your ankle to shoulder line is straight during the push-up, and your elbows don't want to flare. Think about rotating your elbow pits forward as you're doing them to ensure a healthier shoulder position. Once regular push-ups are Another way to make things more difficult is to start trying out explosive reps, or you can do the opposite by pause reps, where you stop and hold a position that you might be particularly weak in. Once you're comfortable with push-ups, it's time to start training for the dip. First, you want to get comfortable supporting your entire body weight up just by your locked arms. And over time, you're going to want to start lowering yourself down into the bottom of the dip position, catching yourself, and then doing that for reps. Over time, again, you will be able to push yourself back up and perform a full body weight dip. Similar to push-ups, you don't want to sag your shoulders or let your shoulders go up to your wrists. You always want to pull them down the best you can with your lats to ensure Now that we've covered the basic horizontal and downward pushing we can achieve, but in the end, aim to be able to get your chin fully above the bar with your arms locked at the bottom. Play around with different grips as you progress, and try to minimize the swing that a lot of people have when they first start doing pull-ups. In my opinion, there isn't much better than just pull-up and row variations to build a solid back foundation and strength for when you move on to harder skills in the future. Since there are generally less foundational pulling exercises than there are pushing exercises, I recommend using this time and freedom in your programming to really focus on locking in perfect form and control in your pull-ups, as it'll go a long way before you try any harder skills or variations. Now, if you don't have any pull-up bars or anything to do pull-ups from, there is an exercise that I would recommend that you can do on the floor, which is the reverse elbow plank. However, this is an extremely intense exercise, and I would recommend you proceed with caution. Next is how you can train and condition your core using only bodyweight exercises. Now, I don't recommend going too overboard with your ab training, as your abs are actually being heavily used during other exercises such as push-ups and pull-ups. I recommend throwing these at the end of your workout after you're done with your other exercises, as to not fatigue your abs prior to doing them. Now, to ensure that your abs are actually strong enough to continue in this mode of training, I do recommend training for the skill known as the L-sit. The progressions for which I am showing on screen right now, you're going to want to start with some knee raises, and then over time extend the lever by either using one leg in, one leg out, and doing this for reps at first, which is slightly easier than the end goal, which is going to be a isometric hold. Now, this can be done from a pull-up bar or a dip bar, which is slightly more difficult. The same process goes for each. You want to extend the lever over time and slowly move from dynamics to isometrics. Now, to actually train this mechanism known as ab compression, where you use just your abs to bring your legs up to your chest, you're going to want to slightly lean forward and bring your legs up to your chest for reps or isometric holds. The farther back your fingers are, the easier the exercise will be, so find your starting point and then slowly lean forward over time to increase difficulty. And lastly, we have legs. Now, if you do a lot of walking upstairs or jumping, then your legs are probably already accustomed to your own body weight, so bodyweight squats might not be enough to place enough stress on them for them to grow. Now, the exercise I'm showing on screen right now is a kneeling quad extension, in which you can start with your body upright and then lean back more over time to place more stress on your quads. You'll find that with a lot of bodyweight exercises, one other way to increase difficulty besides doing explosive or controlled reps is to increase the length of the lever that you are moving. Another way for legs is to do one-legged squat variations such as the shrimp squat or the pistol squat, due to the amount of stability and balance required to execute them properly. As with any one-sided movement, you're going to want to train both sides equally. I recommend starting out with your weaker side and matching the number of reps with your strong side. Especially if you're a beginner, I do highly recommend doing at least some work for your legs, as leg activation in a lot of skills is incredibly important, such as keeping your legs straight in an L-sit. Now, I do highly recommend training for pistol squats because of the balance and mobility factor that it gives you. I found it has a lot of carryover to weighted squats if you are planning to train those in the future. However, like I said before, a lot of these single leg squat variations require a lot of mobility. Now, having low mobility myself in the past, training for these movements has given me a reason to also train my leg mobility and do a lot of leg stretching. Now, this definitely isn't a comprehensive list of fundamental exercises that you can do with your body weight, but the exercises I chose are the ones that I either did while starting out or I would recommend myself to do if I were coaching the version of me that was